Let's hear it for Mia Nico and her performance.
Well, thank you, Caitlin. Certainly the intimidation is real. The speeds are bad fast, record-breaking fast, in fact, and there is no place to hide on the Monster Mile. Dover International Speedway for race number 6 of the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Defending series champ Brett Moffitt will lead the field to green after scoring his first career pole, shattering the track record in qualifying. A 6-time winner last season, still seeking win number 1 of the 2019 campaign. And whoever wins this race will likely have to deal with Johnny Sauter, the winner of each of the last 2 years here at Dover. No fear of the monster. He'll start from the front row today. Been a rocky start to the season for rising star Todd Gilliland, but he's not scared. 5 have scored their first career win here at Dover. Gilliland hopes to be the next. And only 2 former winners in today's field. Matt Crafton won here in 2017. The former series champ, always good here. Today he'll start in the back, however, after an engine change in the 88. Another to keep an eye on is the driver of the 18 truck. And for more, here's Alan Cavana.
Hey, Vince, when we last left you, Harrison Burton had crashed in Texas and had a terrible night. And since then, he's had a full month to sit home and just think about that race, stew on that race, waiting for the next opportunity. That next opportunity comes today. And he loves this racetrack. Finished 5th here last year. He thinks he can do better today, and frankly, he needs it. The current playoff picture has him on the outside looking in, Hermie.
Well, Alan, if you watched our last 4 races, you've seen this truck behind me, the 51 in victory lane, each of those 4 times with Kyle Busch behind the wheel. Today, it's Brandon Jones behind the wheel of the 51. They roll off 19th. And crew chief Rudy Fugel told me it is no coincidence that we're back here today. We have struggled the entire weekend. In fact, he told me he could not remember a weekend that he had changed more stuff on a truck during a race weekend trying to find speed. He said, we got a gremlin somewhere in this truck. We hope we've got it fixed. If so, we'll watch the 51 and Brandon Jones try to make his way to the front and win their 5th consecutive race.
Good stuff down there, Hermie. Thank you very much, and welcome inside along with Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons. I'm Vince Welch. Great to have you with us. It's been a while, 35 days since our last race. Great to be back at the racetrack again. Hermie mentioned the 51 and Brandon Jones piloting that truck this week. First time in a long time that it hasn't been Kyle Busch behind the wheel. In fact, Kyle had won the previous 4 starts here in the Truck Series. You see the list of drivers that finished runner-up to him there, Phil. So who's going to be the star tonight? It's not going to be Kyle Busch.
It isn't. And he hasn't left any room for us to qualify anybody for the playoffs. You win, you're in the playoffs. We've only had one driver do that, and that was Austin Hill back at Daytona. But the 3 guys that they talk about in the garage area the most that have the best chance to win here are the 24 right there, Brett Moffitt. Talked to him this morning. He said that's as good a truck as he's ever had in his life. I think he had the field covered a little bit in practice, and he looks to win his first race of the year. And then also, how can you overlook Johnny Sauter? You mentioned all these guys earlier, Vince. Johnny Sauter's won the last 2 races here. Talked to his crew chief, Joe Shear. He said it's a very similar setup to what he's had the last 2 years, and it's bad fast as well. And the third guy is Matt Crafton. You talked about the fact that he had to change engines and he had to go to the back, but Junior Jonas said that may open them up to some strategy, some counter strategy that may pan out towards the end of the race. So these are 3 of the guys that we need to watch to see if maybe somebody can qualify for the playoffs.
You know, last week at Talladega, it was all about speed, bad, fast speed. We've got more speed here at Dover, in my opinion. I've never seen trucks and cars going through the center of the corner faster than they were in practice today. It's just amazing to me what these guys are doing. And the competition here is so tight. When you start running side by side, you want to get loose. Look back just a year ago when Noah Gregson on the straightaway attempting to side draft Johnny Sauter, gets sideways and goes up into that outside wall. There is no room for error here, Phil. You've got to be virtually perfect if you're going to go out and get the job done, and you're doing it. 10 drivers broke the track record. We're going to see speeds this weekend, not only night in the truck race, but all weekend long that you've never seen before, and it's going to be fun if you like some speed.
We do indeed. Okay, let's pick a winner here. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm going with Stuart Friesen, and if he doesn't win, I guarantee you he'll finish second.
Brett Moffitt is my guy. I'm telling you, he's fast in practice. I think he gets it done.
What about Sauter? He's won 2 in a row.
How do you overlook him?
Yeah, Sauter or Infinger. I'll take one of those 2.
Oh, good.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports. today's Grand Marshal, Director of Corporate Sourcing from Holman Enterprises, please welcome Jeff Canfield.
Drivers, start your engines!
"32 drivers buckled in. The trucks are fired up. 50th anniversary of Dover International Speedway, and we're about to kick it off. You always want to win. You want to win them all even, but everybody wants that trophy, the Monster. The NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series at the Monster Mile. 200 laps here at Dover International Speedway. An absolutely beautiful evening. 5 o'clock, just past 5 o'clock here in the east. Not a cloud in the sky, 68 degrees. A perfect setting, Phil.
How about our Gander Outdoors Truck Series track description? It's a mile in length. The banks or 24 degrees in the corner. You can see the track is symmetrical, but it is a thrill ride. We've got to put on that sheet there how crazy fast and what a wild ride it is around this 1 mile oval.
Yeah, let's take a look at our race analysis. This race is made up in 3 stages. The first stage is 45 laps. Second stage will end at 90, and then the final 110 laps. You see our pit window somewhere between 70 and 80 laps. That means we will have a pit stop in that final stage. As we mentioned, Johnny Sauter won last year as well as the year before.
And Matt Crafton won in 2017, the only 2 former winners in the field. And you see that starting lineup across the bottom of your screen. And while we look at the starters, let's also take a look at those onboards.
We're going to ride along on the Toyota onboard. This is Todd Gillen. He's fresh off a win last week in the ARCA Menards Series at Talladega. We did a great job there. He will start his Toyota from the 14th spot.
Let's hop up into the 5th position where Matt Crafton will row. You can see we're on board with him there, a great view. Plus, we've got a bumper cam down on the front. You can get a really good view of what it's like to dive into these high bank turns. But some bad news for Matt. We talked about it earlier. He's going to take that camera and go all the way to the back with it, and we're going to get to watch him race through the field.
We're taking a look right now at another onboard. That's Stuart Friesen. That's the Drive for Autism Chevy. He will start from the 4th spot. Great cause there. They raised a lot of money for autism for the school that his little boy goes to. He's also going to have the visor cam. That's going to be a thrill ride like you were talking about, Michael. And just a few moments ago, we had a little bit of radio from Stuart. Let's listen in.
You're in good company out there. Let's get settled in. Have a good day here. Prep 4, thanks for everything, guys. Thanks for busting your butts all day yesterday. Getting this thing dialed in for me.
Another strong qualifying effort for Stewart, starting in that 2nd row. As mentioned, a 5-time runner-up, still seeking his first career win. And boy, how special it would be if he would get that win today, carrying that paint scheme representing the school in which his son attends. So such a special weekend in the Delaware area in relation to autism and that cause. Let's get more on the 52 with Alan.
And as you said, Vince, such an important connection to the Drive for Autism cause. You can see the school you're looking at right there, Crossroads Center for Children. That is Stuart Friesen's son, Parker, who was diagnosed on the autism spectrum just after his 1st birthday. You saw Stuart Friesen's truck covered in puzzle pieces. Each one of those puzzle pieces represents a donation that will go to that school. Together, they raised more than $70,000 for that school, for the cause. What a great day this would be for his first career win, Hermie.
You're right, Alan. And let's look at the 24, Brett Moffitt. These guys have been really on it this year. Before Texas, 3 top 5s in a row. But I spoke to Jerry Baxter and Brett Moffitt this morning. He said, you know what? We have been fast, but we expect and we want to win. Jerry Baxter even said, with all of his success, he said, Brett Moffitt's a winner. He's, in my opinion, the best driver in this series. We need to go to victory lane. He said they spent a lot of time in the off times we had, the weekends, and did a lot of work on the Chevrolet simulation programs with this truck on this track. They hope to capitalize on that today.
Well, they were awesome in qualifying, broke the track record by 4/10, 2/10 better than the 2nd fastest today in qualifying.
And that's impossible, isn't it?
It sounds like it, but let me tell you, Vince, I was talking to Baxter down in the garage. I said, calm down. They act like their season's over if they don't win this race today. And you know, when you push, when you want it that bad, sometimes it'll push you into mistakes. And with the speed that truck has and the start to the season, they were maybe the best truck down in Texas and could have won that race. I think they just need to make sure they check all the boxes and do their job and not put that kind of pressure on themselves.
Only one of our championship contenders has won this season, and that is Austin Hill, who won the season opener. So as you look at the playoff standings, remember the top 8 go to the playoffs. Only one has solidified a spot in the postseason.
Yeah, and this could change dramatically with any of these drivers winning, especially the ones below the cut line right now. Certainly Harrison Burton, Sheldon Creek, definitely are potential winners.
And that's what Jerry Baxter pointed out, Vince. He said, look where we are in the points. Nothing is for sure. We've got to perform. We've got to go out and get to victory lane. And that's what that team's all about here in Dover.
You saw Spencer Boyd's name on that list. The 20 truck hard into the wall yesterday in practice, so they had to go to a backup truck, had to have the decals for the truck overnighted, and all the team, it was literally a team effort to get all the decals put on that 20 truck so it would be presentable today for qualifying in the race, and it does indeed look terrific. So congratulations to the folks on that 20 team. Well, they're coming through turn 3 and 4, getting ready to go. It's been a while. We said 35 days since we last raced, but it's going to get busy. 5 races over the next 43 days, and it begins here at Dover, where we have raced each year since 2000. green at the Monster Mile for the Gander Outdoors Truck Series.
Brett Moffitt, our pole sitter, elected to start on the outside. We saw that crash in the opening. Oh, man, that
looks like the 30 truck right there. Brennan Poole looked like he might have got into the outside wall off the corner.
There's not a lot of room.
On the 2.
Solid top 10 qualifying effort for Poole, so that's disappointing. But we saw in our preview of the race when Gregson got loose on the bottom. That's what these drivers are all going to fight all day long, being under a truck and having that thing get sideways on them.
They rely so much on that air, on that side force, and that robs that truck a side force when they're side by side. But look at Matt Crafton making his way towards the front.
Watch the 30 of Brennan Poole. It's that white truck there with the red numbers on top.
That will get your attention. Lap 1 and you're in that position. What a nice save. I don't think that's enough damage that will keep him from having a good day, but man, that was so close to a big crash.
Matt Crafton, you're riding on board with him in that 88. Remember, started at the rear of the field, which should be some great television as we get a look from his onboard cam as he comes through the traffic.
Catching Derek Kraus there in that 19 Napa truck, and here's a battle for the position in the top 5. Down on the bottom, Sheldon Creed with a nice move.
For third, working on Stuart Friesen.
That young man has been impressive. We watched him qualify, and he looked good, looked aggressive, and has a good truck here, it looks like, as well.
You know, you heard, oh, there's
Man, another great save. That one.
One back 98, get back in a rhythm. Half back, inside.
Fortunately, he still has a good truck,
yeah,
right?
But that's what losing your air looks like. If you think we're exaggerating up here by saying he's going to lose his air, well, ask Sheldon Creed if we were exaggerating. He about wiped that truck out.
15 of the 19 previous races here. There has been, in fact, let me check that, 17 of the previous 19 races here, there has been an early caution within the first 20 laps, and we've almost seen a couple of them already tonight, but both guys have managed to save it.
That was a great save.
If he doesn't save that truck, he probably takes his teammate Stuart Friesen with him.
Early laps here at Dover, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. It is Brett Moffitt from the pole still out in front. Look at this 3-wide battle.
Still there, bumper. 19's behind.
Matt Crafton has already made his way up into the top 15.
We saw Brennan Poole, who had gotten into the wall with that right rear. He has come to pit road. Team tending to that damage.
That's the kind of advantage we talked about, Phil, in our opening about how fast this 24 truck was, how confident that team is. He's been able to drive out by about a second over second place running Johnny Sauter.
The 18 of Harrison Burton in the 7th spot, right behind Rafael Lessard, his teammate at Kyle Busch Motorsports in the 46. How about Lessard? It's just his second race. He'd never even seen this racetrack before coming here this weekend, and he has been impressive.
He really has, and I was talking to some of his crew guys down there, and he said it's amazing how quickly he gets up to speed. It doesn't take him any time. He goes on the racetrack, and he's automatically up to speed. They said his feedback is very, very good. A very bright future for this young man.
And you said it, Vince. Just his second race ever. Never seen Dover. He led the first practice session. That's getting up to speed in a hurry for sure.
Qualified 7th.
That'll get boss Kyle's attention, won't it? Go down there and pat him on the back and say, that's what I'm talking about. That kind of speed.
Get some of the other teammates' attention too, doesn't it? Because if a guy that's never been here before could go out there and do it, the other guys darn well better pick it up, hasn't they?
That's exactly right. He's got one of his teammates, Harrison Burton, that 18 truck, right behind him right now.
You see there, Kyle Busch Motorsports has certainly had its share of success throughout the year, certainly in the Gander Outdoor Truck Series. Driver Kyle Busch, the winningest driver in series history, and the team has won more than any other.
Austin Wayne Self losing a position there to Matt Crafton. Crafton now up to 14th as this battle for third continues to heat up. Friesen holding off Sheldon Creed.
11 laps down. We're on lap 12. Early going here at Dover. Back at the Monster Mile for the Dover 200, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. That red and white truck is piloted by Brett Moffitt, the pole winner earlier today. Broke the track record by about 4/10, and he was 2/10 quicker than the guy behind him, Johnny Sauter. And those two have been chasing one another. Actually, Sauter's been doing the chasing.
You know, Vince, what's interesting with that kind of advantage in qualifying, Phil, I just wonder, will that truck have long run speed? He's so quick on the new tires. Will it abuse the tires? Is that setup going to be okay to be able to pace through 50, 60 laps? What will happen to that truck as they run out on those old tires?
We went away to break, and he had about a 1 second lead over Johnny Sauter. Johnny's closed that up now to about 3/4 tenths behind him.
And how about Matt Crafton, who had to start at the back of the field, making his way up, Hermie?
Yeah, these guys were really frustrated with the fact that they would have to start at the rear because they knew they had a good truck. They backed that up with a top 5 run in qualifying that will help them pick a good pit road spot next week when we get to Kansas. But he's already up to the 13th position, and when he's not in traffic, he's running top 5 type speeds. 88 needs a good day. They need a win, but they're certainly showing they got a truck maybe capable of doing that today.
Crafton is one of 4 drivers who posted 3 top 5s in the first 5 races, but they've been getting better. Certainly seems like they've made a step forward since last year, but always seeking out the victory.
And I think if they can make their way up into the top 8, 9 positions in that end of this first stage, then I think they've overcome starting at the back, and then they can do what the other people do that are running up front.
Hermie mentioned the traffic that Crafton is encountering, but everyone encounters that. I mean, we've seen Brett Moffitt. You mentioned the fact that we went away to a commercial. He had a second lead. We came back. It was 3/10, but traffic, you cannot hide here at Dover, so that's going to put even the fastest trucks in traffic all the time.
Yeah, and you know what I love? All throughout the top 10, a different truck will run the fastest lap during that certain lap, and that's because, Vince, like you said, you want to be right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Well, you can't be there all the time. That's why you need a truck that's very versatile and able to move around on this racetrack. And right now, it looks like Johnny Sauter's truck is more versatile than our leader, Brett Moffitt.
As those two get around Reed Wilson in that 44 truck. Moffitt has led them all so far, but Sauter is knocking on the door. Remember, this first stage, as you see on the left-hand side of your screen, above the pylon, 45 laps, so we're past the halfway mark here in stage 1.
And these guys are still running really fast lap times, a little bit over 24 seconds right now.
Watch the 88 of Matt Crafton here. We talked about lap traffic and Norm Benning in that 6 truck.
Whoa. That was a near miss there. What's Crafton do? Let's see, he's blinded.
Behind him. Then you got that 49 slow middle lane ahead. Watch the 6, easy.
He had no idea, I don't think, that the 6 truck of Benning was there.
Yeah.
That truck moved out of the way, and Matt's like, oh, look at there.
Yeah, we heard the spotter say don't get pinned behind him, but he thought that might be the truck in front of him, not the 6 of Norm Benning.
The 17 of Tyler Ankrum trying to work on Ben Rhodes. Rhodes came into this race as the leading point. Oh, Ankrum gets sideways and saves it. Wow.
And here comes Jesse Little. You said there's nowhere to hide, Vince. As soon as you slip, somebody wants your spot.
That's exact same scenario we saw with Sheldon Creed early in the race when he tried to pass Stuart Friesen coming off for turn 4.
I was going to say Rhodes had scored the most stage points coming into this race. And that's Rhodes in that 99 truck running 9th. But right now, everyone chasing the 24, Brett Moffitt at Dover. back at Dover, and as you have been watching during that commercial break, some great battles back in the pack, but no battle at the front. It is all Brett Moffitt with 10 laps remaining here in stage 1, but we've had some good competition for that final spot in relation to stage points back around that 10th position of Ben Rhodes and Matt Crafton. And how about the 52 of Stuart Friesen? He's running 5th, Alan.
And one of a few drivers to complain about getting loose late in this run. You can see him there handling on the wheel, and the crew chief responds with use your tire blowers to help with the handling. That's one of the tools these drivers have at their disposal. Mike and Phil, how does that work?
Well, when we talk about that truck being loose, that means he's overheating the right rear tire, so he can turn a fan on that right rear tire, blows on the bead to cool it off a little bit, to give him a little bit more grip. And we saw we witnessed the fact that he was pretty loose, so he had to grab another handful of steering wheel. Again, most of the common thought in the garage area was that this track would tighten up with the more rubber we put down. That's why it's a little bit surprising, and I'm sure it's probably caught some of the crew chiefs by surprise that this track's pretty free right now.
And you know, Phil, you talk about flipping fans and changing the aerodynamics of the truck or the grip of the truck. That's got to happen in a hurry. You're in a corner a lot of the lap around this racetrack, so as soon as you pop up on the straightaway, you've got to be on that radio to tell your crew chief what you might need for an adjustment. You might need to turn fans on and off. These drivers are really busy, not just wrestling their truck, but also trying to make those adjustments on board.
Here's that competition for that 10th and final spot in regards to points available at the end of this first stage. Crafton is 11th. Ben Rhodes is 10th, and representing that final stage point.
Look at Lassard right in front of them in the 9th spot. So there's a couple points right there in front of Matt Crafton.
And I think I've watched the times of Lassard over the last few laps. He's fallen off, and that's brought all this competition right up on his bumper. So this could tighten up.
The 4 of Todd Gilliland is back there as well, running 13th.
There's the Lassard truck, 46. You can see Ben Rhodes has been able to close right up on him, and Crafton as well. These guys are all committed to that bottom. I kind of like to see them fan out and see if there's anything up top. Obviously, if they thought there was, they'd be doing that, but I've seen a couple of trucks up in the high lane, but mostly people down right on the bottom of the track.
Yeah, these trucks now are lapping within a second of the very fastest lap of the race. In traffic, obviously, they will slow down, but the faster trucks, right? Harrison Burton was the fastest truck that last lap, and he ran a 24.14. That's only 0.6 of a second slower than he's run for his fastest lap.
How about the 99 of Ben Rhodes running 10th, Hermie?
Yeah, Vince, we see the 88 coming, who was a teammate coming up in the back of Ben Rhodes, but Ben's spotter and crew chief just told him about 10 laps ago, hug the bottom of the racetrack, stay on the line at the bottom. You can see him hugging that line right between the asphalt and the concrete of the racetrack. Even if you have to bag the entry of the corner up, don't let the truck slide off the bottom of the racetrack. They feel like that gives him the best shot to hold off the 88, but Crafton sure is heating him up right now.
Wow, Matt Crafton way up the track looking at the highline, trying to maybe get around Rhodes.
Yeah, if I'm Rhodes, I do eat that bottom up because I want to make Matt go high to pass me. But if I'm Crafton, I don't have anybody necessarily right on my bumper. A couple truck links back to Jesse Little, and that's opening the door. Matt says, I got to give this a whirl, see if I can make something work, and I think he's going to get some momentum up there.
Yeah, I think if Ben would have given him a little room on the outside, he might have been able to make the pass, and he may do it on the inside right here.
Oh! Lap truck made Crafton have a change of heart there late.
And me too.
Final 2 laps here in stage 1. You heard the radio from NASCAR. Pit lane is closed, as it always is in the final 2 laps of a stage. And Rhodes has gapped Crafton just a bit, and you see the 52 of Friesen running 5th.
Going to open up the bottom for Harrison Burton. There's a stage point at stake right here.
Crafton did it. Got that run on the high side off turn 2, and then dove to the bottom and took that position.
And Brett Moffitt coming to the green-white for his first stage win of 2019. Lassard in the 46, Crafton in the 88, as they're now fighting for that 9th spot, and Crafton is going to get it. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? To the line. I think Lassard got him.
He did get it. This racetrack's a little different in the fact that normally most racetracks, you get in the throttle in the center of the corner and you're able to mat that thing eventually and drive it on off. This racetrack, you have to pedal that throttle off the corner even when you're running well.
The last 2 times that Brett Moffitt won a stage, he also won the race. He's the Stage 1 winner.
The road's still closed. How's the temp on that thing? 210 out front. 10-4.
At the end of that stage.
Was he?
Yeah. Him and both.
Brett Moffitt scores his first stage win of the season, and you see the points earned through the top 10 and those stage points that are available. Moffitt led them all in stage 1.
Crafted from last to the top 10. He's got to call that a success, right?
Pretty impressive, I think. Also impressive for Rafael Lessard getting the top 10, as well as Tyler Ankrum in this first stage.
These kids show up ready to race, don't they? It's really impressive to see how well they're able to adapt and adjust to all these different venues that they've never seen before, some of them.
And you got the old guys that still run well, like Brett Moffitt, who's 26. Really old.
Crusty veteran is old Moffitt. Got that intimidating mustache that he wears around the garage area. People just back down.
He doesn't wear that during the week. He just puts it on for race weekend, right? Team's getting ready for their first pit stops.
It's
first
hard.
Scheduled stops, we should say. Brennan Poole has been to pit lane for some repairs.
We talked about how hard it is to pass here. This is when you're really going to rely on your team. As a driver, you've got to do your job. Maximize pit road speed. Get in and out of your box. And if your team can perform, get you a couple spots. Could be a big difference.
Brett Moffitt leads them down. It's going to be busy. Let's begin with Alan Cavana.
And a good first stage for Sheldon Creed. Started off a little loose, but he was able to recover and finish third in that first stage. He says he's just tight from the center off the corner. 4 tires for Sheldon Creed. Meanwhile, Johnny Sauter there in the middle of your screen says he has no grip coming off the corner when he was trying to chase down leader Brett Moffitt. He wants 4 tires, a track bar adjustment, and some air pressure adjustments. Hermie?
Well, Alan, Brett Moffitt in the 24 started out too loose, got neutral in the middle of the run, too tight on the end of that first run. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. They're going to make the adjustments with air pressure for the 24.
Like that left front was a little hung up. Took a little extra time.
Pretty small pit boxes here, too.
34 feet in length, and pit road, even though it has been enlarged recently, it's still fairly narrow.
Little strategy by Todd Gilliland to gain 10 spots with only 2 tires. How about, what do you think we should try to contact our stage winner?
I'd love that. Let's hear what Brett's got to say.
Hey, Brett Moffitt, Phil Parsons, and the boys in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Phil.
Boy, that truck looked awfully good there, Brett, but every time we looked up, that 13 of Johnny Sauter was right there. Do you guys make any changes here to try to keep up with this racetrack?
Yeah, as it rubbers in, it just keeps getting a little bit tighter, so we worked on that a little bit. But we do have a good ISM Connect Chevy Silverado here, so a couple firsts today. Got a stage win and a pole, so we'll check those off the box and go try to get that golden monster.
Go do it. Keep it going, bud. Thanks.
Thank you.
It's the 50th anniversary. He wants that golden monster.
A little bit of hang up here on the left front, but Moffitt will still be in control. He's led them all so far.
That pit road speed is way off. I was doing 5 red lights there, and they were still driving away from me. I was doing 3,200 at first. They were leaving me in the dust. 10-4, we'll make adjustments here.
During the stage break here at Dover, the 4 of Todd Gilliland back on pit road after being penalized for too fast exiting. Tough break for the 4 team. Uncontrolled tire on the 17, also the 19 penalized with the uncontrolled tire. That's Derek Kraus. Tyler Ankrum, the 17, the 19 is Derek Kraus. And Ross Chastain in the 45 had a man over the wall too soon for a penalty.
That's a bunch of penalties, isn't it?
Indeed. Get ready for stage 2, and let's check in with Hermie.
Well, thank you, Vince. You see the 98 of Grant Enfinger. He qualified 6th. He's currently 3rd on this next restart. But talked to Grant right before the race today. He is racing with a heavy heart today. He wanted me to give a shout out to the family of Clint Smith. They called him Fuel Cell Clint, a good friend of Grant Enfinger and this race team. Been a fixture in the Truck Series garage for years and years. He passed away last Wednesday night after a relatively brief illness, and he wanted me to pass along his condolences to the family, and a lot of people here in NASCAR and in the Truck Series garage wanted to pass along their well wishes to the family of Clint Smith. He's riding along via decal today for the 98 in Grant Enfinger.
There's a lot of heavy hearts throughout the garage. Of course, so much of the racing community based out of the Charlotte area, and of course the shootings and the deaths via those shootings at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte this week, and Jesse Little in that 97 truck with the decal on the hood honoring those.
Yeah, I was talking to Jesse. My son Stephen goes to school with Jesse there at UNCC, and some real heavy hearts there. And I know Stephen and a lot of the kids that went to the vigil service, the candlelight vigil service the next night, and certainly all our thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that was affected by that tragedy.
And how about Riley Howell, that hero that tackled the gunman, lost his life in the process, but just such a sad story.
Senseless tragedy. Really appreciate Jesse, honoring those, but with that decal on the hood.
Well, allows us an opportunity to be thankful that we're here at the racetrack, being able to enjoy something that we love. Stage 2 with Brett Moffitt on the outside leading the way, and we're racing again at Dover.
Not sure about putting Sheldon Creed down on the inside of me, Phil. We know he drives that thing as hard as it'll go every lap, and down on the bottom it's going to want to get loose. We'll see if it works out for Moffitt, but that's a bit of a chance if you ask me.
A little bit of side draft. Remember, these guys are teammates at GMS. Sheldon has to go up the hill. Brett Moffitt realizes that, feels him coming up there, giving him some room.
What about that veteran move? Moffitt said, I think the kid needs a little bit of space. He gave him that room and drove off with the lead. That was awesome.
There's one of the things that they talk in the garage about Sheldon Creed. He drives every lap like it's a qualifying lap. I mean, flat out all the way, but sometimes you got to slow down to go faster, and that's something you learn with experience, right?
And he will. He's so brand new at this. He just ran a handful of races last year and full-time this year, but really doing a nice job, and he'll get it. He's a guy that's going to make it.
There's Matt Crafton in that neon yellow 88. Crafton had to start at the rear of the field after that engine change. He's up to 7th.
And on the other end of the spectrum, there goes Stuart Friesen, dropping to the back. He's lost 3 or 4 spots early in this run, so he's struggling with his truck, while it looks like Crafton and Jesse Little both made great adjustments, and they're moving forward, but you can see Friesen continuing to lose spots.
How about the 51 of Brandon Jones? We talk about that KBM truck without Kyle in it. Brandon was almost ready to get lapped at the end of that first stage, but you were watching the scoring monitor. He was running some pretty good lap times, and right now he's up in the top 10.
Brandon Jones making his first Truck Series start of the season. Back to Todd Gilliland, who got that speeding penalty. In fact, Tyler Ankrum there in the 17 also penalized during that previous stop.
Guys battling for the 15th position. Tyler Ankrum grabs it. Hear that pedaling of the throttle from Todd Gilliland there. And these are on good tires. These tires only have, what, 2 or 3 laps on them.
Listen, as he gets his way off forward, it's worse over here, I think. Here, really laid up off the turn, still having to pedal the gas.
Matt Crafton, 3.5 seconds behind the leader, Hermie.
Vince, we mentioned the fact that 88 had to start in the rear of the pack today because they changed engines after practice. Something that really went on through both practice sessions. It wasn't like the engine blew up, and he maybe having some issues right now. Listen to Matt Crafton.
Motor's laying down. This thing is so good. I hope he's wrong.
That's Matt and crew chief Junior Joyner. They're just hoping that they're not having a repeat of the issue they had in practice yesterday.
Well, you heard him say it is so good, I hope he's wrong. And we have seen Crafton just come through the field. I mean, he seems like maybe he's got the best truck we've seen him have all season long.
Well, that time by Vince, he was about 0.4 of a second off of our leader, Brett Moffitt. And if it's handling good and you're 0.4 off, that leads you to think something's going to foul under the hood.
Well, Crafton's been around long enough to when he says the motor's laying down, chances are he understands exactly what he's got. Back to Rafael Lassard, running 14th in that 46 truck with Tyler Ankrum right behind him.
Ankrum's doing a nice job. He's charging toward the front after that issue on pit road. I think this truck's got something for these boys today. You saw him drive around Todd Gilliland, making his way toward the front.
Remember, he came off a 6th place finish at Texas. That truck and that team have done extremely well. Bono Mannion, so much experience there calling the shots on that 17 truck.
Ankrum, the K&N East champion from a year ago. Great for a young driver to have an opportunity to work with a veteran like Bono Mannion. And how about this guy, Brett Moffitt, the dominator so far at the Monster. The Gander Outdoors Truck Series at Dover. One of the most unique, I can't think of a more unique seat in all of sports. Literally right above the racetrack, the monster bridge above turn 3 here at Dover. 56 seats. And you not only see them, you hear them, and you feel them. This is a pretty good seat right here.
Yeah, it
Friesen.
is.
Allen.
Stuart Friesen not having a good time right now. He has fallen back to 12th. Remember, before the stage ended, he was complaining about being loose. After the pit stop, he says to the crew, "You have only made it worse." He was yelling on the radio. He can't even turn the wheel right now. They're trying to diagnose what he can do to fix it. His spotter asked him to take a tighter approach into the corner, try to paint the line throughout to see if that helps the handling. Crew chief is trying to see what he can do with tire pressures for the next stop, but right now, Stuart Friesen just too loose and going backward.
And that's frustrating as a driver, especially at a place like Dover where you go so fast. We talked about the speed, but they can fix Friesen's truck. I'm worried about that neon yellow truck up ahead of Matt Crafton. He's just off the pace. He's falling back. He talked about how well that truck was action on the front straightaway, how well that truck was handling, but it just doesn't look like it's performing down the straightaway.
Wow, what a nice move by the 22 of Austin Wayne Self. Good to see him back. Oh, Stuart Friesen got a little bit loose there on exit of the corner.
That's Daniel Sassnet in the 34.
Daniel had to think what the heck was going on. They were out there 3-4 wide on the front straightaway. A lot of action. Saw the 22 of Self there. He's having a nice run, Phil, up in the 12th position.
And check that Josh Rayome in the 34, not Sassnet, and the 34 has been posted for minimum speed, so it's either going to have to speed it up or come in.
You can see Austin Wayne Self. He missed a couple of races. He actually was suspended by NASCAR for violating the substance abuse program, but he enrolled in the road to recovery, finished it quicker than anybody has ever done, and said, really turn this into a positive. The team is so glad to have him back. He was at the shop every day working on these trucks. Bubba Wallace stepped in, had a nice run at Martinsville with a top 10 finish. Everyone, sponsors and the team, happy to have Austin Wayne Self back on the truck, and nobody happier than Austin Wayne Self to be back in that truck, and good to have him back. And he's having a pretty darn good run here, Michael.
Yeah, top 12, and when you get back in and you're at Dover, this place, it's just adrenaline. You love racing around these high banks, and the action gets so intense. What about what happened on the front straightaway with Friesen there? There were trucks going in every which direction, and he doesn't like the way this truck is handling. That makes it...
How about this on the replay of what Friesen's dealing with here?
First of all, he's dealing with a truck that he's turning to the right. He's trying to hang on, and then they're 2 and 3 wide ahead of him.
Middle. Inside, that's very top.
I think they were 4 wide for a moment in front of them. I don't think you can do that here, can you?
No, surely they weren't, Phil. Uh-oh.
That's Sheldon Creed heating up the back bumper of the leader, Brett Moffitt.
Brett's led this thing from the beginning, but man, he's had pressure the whole way.
And Johnny Sauter right there on the tailgate of Sheldon Creed.
The most laps Moffitt has ever led in a race.
Yeah, usually just wins, runs
with a last lap pass.
One or two at the most,
yeah,
and gets the victory. What dramatic fashion he's always won in, and today he's putting them up and putting them down.
And I love the fact that Sheldon Creed is moving around. You talked about that during the first stage. Move around, see if you can find some more grip. We saw him at Homestead last year get right up against the wall, get a top 5 finish. He's not afraid to move around. He might find something up there.
He's a dirt racer. They like to look for, in the dirt cars, they look for a little moisture, they say. Here he's just looking for some fresh pavement, fresh concrete, where he can get the nose of that 2 truck to get some air on the front of it. He needs some downforce, and that's why he's moving around and trying those differing lanes.
The traffic again, there's the 20th Spencer Boyd, and Sauter goes under Boyd, and Moffitt went on top. Sauter gets second, and now challenging for the lead.
Clear ball, clear ball, clear, clear, clear.
Johnny Sauter is in front as Moffitt gets caught up in some lap traffic, and Sauter, the 2-time defending winner here at Dover, is out front for the first time today.
Boy, I didn't see that coming a couple of laps ago, did you? Johnny Sauter from 3rd to 1st. Things happen so fast here. Lap traffic was an issue for Moffitt. He had Sheldon Creed all over his tailgate, and Johnny Sauter took advantage.
Inside of 10 to go here in stage 2. That's a big swing right there for Sauter.
First time we've seen anybody other than Brett Moffitt lead this race.
Talk about guys needing a win. Sauter, 6-time winner last season, but has yet to go to victory lane this season. Watch it, how it happens. There's Moffitt in the red and white. He's the leader. Spencer Boyd in the way a little bit. Sauter makes the most of it. And then that's the 49 of Ray Cicerelli.
And when they get to turn 1, Cicerelli goes high, and Moffitt was committed there, blocks his line, and Johnny Sauter is off to the races.
Yeah, if Ray Cicerelli stays on the bottom, then Johnny Sauter gets blocked out, and Brett Moffitt retains that lead.
Well, we talked earlier about the fact there's no place to hide here for those slower vehicles, and can make a difference.
Look at Ross Chastain. He knows that high side's an option, and he's taken advantage of it. He struggled early in this race, but that pass there puts Chastain up into the top 10.
Crafton, who looked so strong earlier in the race, and they're riding on board with Matt. But the telemetry tells the story, doesn't it, Phil?
You see a top RPM of about 7,100 there. We've watched some other trucks during the commercial break, and they were turning 74, 7,500. So there's no doubt that that motor is a little bit off. You see only 7,000, maybe just touching 7,100 going in that corner. That something is definitely amiss with the 88 there.
4 laps remaining in stage 2.
How come when they're handling terrible, Phil, you never have a problem? They'll run forever like that, but when one's handling perfectly,
you lose a cylinder 5 laps into a 500-mile race, right?
Darn it.
Jesse Little in the 97 truck right there with the red stripes across the hood, and that 49ers logo from UNC Charlotte.
Charlotte strong on that truck, and he's having a strong run. This team, I think, performed a little bit better in 2018 than they have this year. It's good to see Jesse up there having a nice top 10 run so far.
Yeah, I talked to he and his crew chief Bill Henderson, and they thought they had a pretty good truck yesterday in practice, and Jesse's given it a good ride. This would be a great shot in the arm if they can finish this off with a good finish. Jesse was so good here last year. Remember, they had a miscue on pit road that cost him a really, really good position. I think still had a top 10.
Pits are closed with 2 laps remaining here in stage 2. Johnny Sauter continues to lead. Brett Moffitt has had the dominant truck so far today, has led 80 laps, but got caught up in some traffic, and Sauter took advantage, went from 3rd to 1st, and Johnny Sauter stepping his way toward a possible stage win.
And you know, Phil, as a driver, as a crew chief like Jerry Baxter, Moffitt was out there dominating the race. They were probably a little reluctant to work on that truck, even though they knew the track was going to tighten up. Now that they've gotten behind, Jerry's going to get aggressive on this next adjustment. That could be a key to him winning this race, getting behind and knowing that they've got to work on their truck.
And that truck could handle a little bit different back there in some dirtier air.
Johnny Sauter, the stage 2 winner. His 2nd stage win of 2019. So Brett Moffitt wins stage 1 and Johnny Sauter stage 2. Sauter looking for a 3-peat at Dover.
Turn your fans off under caution, please. 4, got it.
Dover International Speedway on an absolutely beautiful Friday evening. Temperature in the upper 60s, sun shining, and it's looking pretty good for Johnny Sauter, who won stage 2 and has scored the most points tonight. He and Brett Moffitt. Moffitt has been terrific, has led 80 laps tonight. The 88 Hermie has been pretty good, but they've had some issues in that second stage.
Yeah, engine was not running the RPMs they were earlier in the race, and came down pit road, found a plug wire that had basically just fallen off one of the plugs underneath the hood of the 88. So they feel like they've got it fixed. We'll see when the green flag drops. But Crafton went ahead and came down pit road prior to pit road opening. So we'll see if he can get his way back up through there and challenge before this race is over.
Still great news, though, for that 88 team that they found the issue.
No doubt. Shasta was a little flat under the hood, and now they've got her tuned up, and he can go to town.
Pitting, Alan?
And just a great stage for Sheldon Creed in the 2 truck. This is his first start at Dover. He says he starts off loose, but then gets really tight, especially off turn 4, wants 4 tires, fuel, and a track bar adjustment. Johnny Sauter, the 13 truck in the middle of your screen, says he has to be careful with this truck. He is just too loose coming off the corner. They want an air pressure adjustment and a small adjustment to the track bar. Hermie?
Alan, Jerry Baxter wanted to fix the 24 without putting a wrench in the truck, but then they finally decided we've got to get the track bar up on the right side of the 24. Brett said, I'm just too tight to compete. A little bit of trouble again with the left front of the 24, but he's down on the way.
He'll roll off third, Hermie. It looked like Sheldon Creed maybe clipped Sauter. Is that right, Phil?
It looked like it. I thought now Austin Hill coming out right beside of Brett Moffitt.
And it's been fun to watch that 16 truck today. He's going to be really fast throughout this final stage.
Yeah, top 5 in that second stage.
Our stage 2 winner was Johnny Sauter. They hit him on the radio.
Start working those tires so the pressure will come on up. I'd work them the whole time.
That's not me, Vince. That's Tab Boyd, his spotter. He was telling him
The smooth styling from Tab Boyd.
Yeah, you got to love his voice and what he's telling him there. That just means he wants those pressures good. Hey, Johnny, it's Michael Waltrip and the boys in the booth. You hear me?
Simple. That's cool.
That was Tab again. Hey, Johnny, it's Michael Waltrip and the Fox boys. Do you hear me?
10-4, I got you.
Well, that was fun. What an impressive move you made there to get the lead.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Our 10-4 F-150 seems to be better a little bit longer we run here, so hopefully Joe and the guys got a little bit better tune on it and see what we can do. But yeah, it kind of just worked out for us there, traffic-wise, and you know, clean air is ever so important at a place like this. So just keep digging on it. Thank everybody at ThorSport for working hard.
All right, work those tires in like Tap said, all right, bud?
10-4, I'm on it. He'll yell at me if I don't.
We're going to restart for the final stage at Dover. Great crowd on hand. Coming back. Getting ready for the final stage here at Dover. Taking a look at our Xfinity fastest pit stops from that break, and a nice job from that KBM group of Brandon Jones.
And moved him up to the 5th spot for this restart. Had a lot of speed in that second stage here. They've definitely improved that truck.
Yeah, and Sheldon Creed with that great stop now leads this race.
Yes, he does. So Sheldon Creed in the outside of the front row will be the control vehicle in that 2 truck with Johnny Sauter on the inside. Going to take the green and begin the final stage. Stage 3 underway, and we're going to give you a McDonald's. Crank it up.
Would be vitally important with who comes up with the lead here on this restart.
Fast around this place. Wow.
Exactly what I was thinking, Vince, how crazy the speeds are here and how these guys are just dancing around. These trucks very loose. Front ends won't turn at times. 3 wide. Heck, we even saw 4 wide either.
Lassard got down underneath the seam and almost kicked back up into the 22. Another one sideways back there. Austin Wayne Self in the 22 trying to gather it up, but the 97 of Jesse Little has gotten into the wall.
That's a flat right rear, it looks like. Yeah.
Trying to get it down off the racing surface. How about Todd Gilliland right in the middle? Ross Chastain in that 45. Matt Crafton inside of the 4 truck for position.
It looks like Matt Crafton has made the repairs to that plug wire. Moved up into the top 15.
Now his crew chief, Junior Joyner, is going to say, show me how good that thing is. You said it was good. Let's take it to the front.
Right side of your screen, watch Jesse Little get up into the wall there.
Man, that's a heavy contact here at Dover. A lot of speed we talk about. You don't just bounce off the wall and get away with it here.
Bad break for Jesse. He was inside the top 10. Crafton heating up Chastain, and Gilliland's going to take advantage and try to grab the position from Crafton.
Matt lost a little bit of momentum there when he pulled up on the tailgate of Ross Chastain. Todd Gilliland said, let me take advantage of that and jump to the inside.
Matt said, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to take that back from you.
See that telemetry, 7,400 RPMs. The most we saw was 7,000, maybe 7,100. So good news for Matt Crafton, that 88 bunch.
That truck in front of him, Ross Chastain, has finished top 10 every race this season. He's the only driver to finish top 10 every race this season, but right now Chastain is 14th.
And he's run every single race that we've had in NASCAR in our 3 major touring divisions.
This Crafton truck is fast. He's just having problems with the traffic. Talk about how aerodynamics take away your grip in the front end. He's all over Chastain, but can't get there.
See Ross kind of diamonding the racetrack a little bit, just sliding up a little bit in the middle corner to try to get a straighter shot off. One time he's going to slide up, and Matt will close that hole up and not give him the bottom of the racetrack as we take a look at Harrison Burton with a good run here.
Yeah, working on his second top 5 of the season. Currently runs 4th, Alan.
And Vince, Kyle Busch is not in the race today, but he is doing all he can to help drive that number 18 truck. He's been on the radio with Harrison throughout the race, telling him to take care of the right rear tire, telling him if you slide it too much, it will start chattering and bouncing a little bit like you might experience at Martinsville. Telling his driver, just be patient, be cool, take care of that right rear tire and have it for the end of this race.
How do you take care of the right rear tire?
You just have to make sure you don't get that thing hung out. When it hangs out any at all, it just abuses the right rear tire. So you want to try to keep the truck pointed straight up off the corner. That's the best way to make sure you don't abuse it.
And pedaling that throttle will do that as well. Just not try to lean too much on that right rear tire.
There's Jesse after that contact with the wall, running in the 9th position. The strong run that team needed, we talked about, he was having it, and now he has issues.
They repaired the tire, obviously, and a little bit of help on that right rear, but still an issue for the 97. No problems for the 2 of Sheldon Creed, last year's ARCA champ, out front at Dover.
Here haven't passed one another all day until they get the traffic, so just be patient. Just gets stuck, center moves up, and he can't get it back down to the bottom off. Never gets down there. When he enters, he's a half car width up.
The race is over for Corbin Forrester in that 7 truck up against the inside wall. I see damage there on the right rear. It's brought out the caution.
Rarely do you see a truck get sideways off the corner and not wind up in that inside wall.
Oh, boy. The thing really snapped, didn't it?
Sure
Who was
did.
that getting by, just doing a great job avoiding that? Looked like it was maybe Tyler Hill in the 56 truck.
That was beautiful driving there. Watch Hill. As Forrester goes around, he just dives to the bottom and narrowly slips by.
Forrester was running 25th at the time. And while they clean it up, and it should be quick, we'll take one more break and come back for the restart at the Monster Mile. Looking forward to the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup as it kicks off in June 7th, in fact. All eyes on Alex Morgan, Carly Lloyd, and the U.S. Women's National Team. The defending champs head to France, looking to win an historic 4th World Cup. And all the matches will be live on Fox and FS1. Right now, all eyes on that pair on the front row. Sheldon Creed, who will start outside, and Brett Moffitt, who will start inside on row 1 here in the final stage. And radio now from the 13 of Johnny Sauter.
Forget about that. We don't need to do any of that anymore. Oh, you told me to save fuel. I was saving fuel. Put the ignition switch back up, and thing wouldn't start. Oh, these damn motors, I don't know. About 2 gallons short. I can't believe that this thing wouldn't start. That is just amazing.
We've seen that happen before, where the engine just won't fire right back off. Johnny Sauter lost some track position. NASCAR has deemed that he would restart in the 9th position. That's why Moffitt's up beside Creed.
That's critical track position too.
We saw some guys come to pit road, maybe just looking for an advantage. Matt Kraft and Ross Chastain, Joe Nemechek, and Gillen all came and got some gas. Maybe if this thing goes green, it'll give them an advantage later.
They might not be able to make it all the way, but they'll have to put certainly less fuel in. They have about 20 laps more fuel now than the guys that didn't stop.
This restart's going to be crazy.
The preferred restart position has been that outside spot, and the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed occupies it with our pole winner Brett Moffitt inside, back green and racing. Creed spun the tires a little bit on that restart.
How about Harrison Burton?
3 wide, Burton to the bottom.
Still out here. Still out, bottom of 3. Bottom of 3, close up the space if you need it. Got a quarter truck. Still bottom of 3, Mo with you.
Moffitt in the middle.
You here.
And Brett Moffitt's going to get squeezed, and now it's going to be Creed and Harrison Burton side by side.
But it isn't over as Moffitt dives to the bottom. That's the longest I ever seen anybody run 3 wide at Dover right there.
I held my breath that long. However long that was, that's how long I held my breath.
You and I both. I couldn't say a word. This is crazy racing.
Burton not giving it up. Creed has a little bit of an advantage, but Burton's still digging on the bottom. There's that wiggle right there.
I love what Creed did. He went down there and pinched him off a little bit, so Harrison didn't have quite as much room to use that centrifugal force, and it got him 2-3 truck lengths.
Just a tick loose was Burton, and that was all that Creed needed to get that spot.
Creed's been impressive, hasn't he? Just being able to hold off all those challenges, and now he's able to stretch it out a couple of truck lengths.
Stuart Friesen in that 6th spot with Johnny Sauter right there.
Johnny's mad, so he's going to be driving really hard. I know they all are, but Sauter's on a mission to gain back what he lost. And look at that move he makes. Nice work.
And we heard him as we see Stuart Friesen have to get back out of the throttle. But that's the rule of thumb right now, is everyone tries to save fuel all the time. From the time they crank the motors at the start of the race, they save fuel.
Another issue for Jesse Little as he comes down and is going to make his way back to pit road. It's gone from bad to worse for Little after making contact with the wall. Watch this on the right-hand side of the screen. Oh, Wilson and the 0-2 of Tyler Dipple.
That's tight. And you can see Jesse Little had problems up ahead of those 2. Austin Hill's done a great job today. We saw him racing to the top 5 in that last stage, and now he's running top 5 here. That truck seems to get better as it gets more laps on the tires. See how that plays out later in the race for the 16 team.
Good battle here just outside the top 10. That's Raphael Lessard in the 46, Ross Chastain in the 45. That's a battle for the 12th position as we ride along with Todd Gillen, who's running 14th.
Thought we'd see Gilliland up a little further today, but he has been right there kind of between 10th and 15th much of the day, as you see Derek Kraus in that 19 truck making a move on the 51 of Brandon Jones. Kraus drives full-time in the K&N East Series, 2nd in points in that championship battle, and get an opportunity to run the trucks on occasion.
And he'll be in South Boston, Virginia tomorrow running the K&N Series.
Does a nice job when he gets a chance to come truck racing, doesn't he?
Sure does. Really impressive in his debut out at Phoenix last year, at the end of last year.
riding with Gilliland. His average finish this season, 12.8. He's got a couple of top 10s, but still looking for his first top 5 of the season.
I see him looking around, maybe trying to find some grip.
That's where you'll gain right there, Phil. When you run up, you just get more momentum on exit, and that's what Gilliland began to play with there, see if he can make it work.
Sauter's got that 7th spot, but Tyler Ankrum in that 17 truck just up ahead of Johnny Sauter. What a job that Ankrum has done here today. Just turned 18 last month.
He's one of 3 rookies running in the top 6 here at the Monster Mile. How about that? One of the toughest tracks on all of the NASCAR circuit, and these rookies are getting it done.
And it's not a surprise, too. Number one, he has some experience here in the K&N Series because he was our K&N East champion last year. They race here at Dover. And he also ran extremely well at Texas in the 17 truck, finishing 6th.
He's dedicated to that bottom, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Isn't he right there with that left front corner on the bottom of the road? That's good work.
And another rookie out front, Sheldon Creed. He's led 32 laps here today, more laps than he's led in his entire Truck Series career combined. Putting them up and laying them down at the Monster Mile. Johnny Sauter in 5th. Austin Hill in that 16 truck is in 6th with 65 to go at Dover. And out front is Sheldon Creed, champion of the ARCA Series, the ARCA Menard Series a year ago, and he has led more laps today than he has in his entire Truck Series career. Looking pretty sporty out front doing it.
And, you know, Phil, what will we start thinking about strategy here? I know we can go probably to lap 165, 170 on this gas. Is there any chance any of our leaders will short pit and maybe get those fresher tires and try to gain some track position?
I think if they needed the speed, but these tires are remaining fast. We still see trucks running still in the 23s. That last lap, Harrison Burton ran a 23.93. His fastest lap of the race was a 23.50. So only 0.4 of a second off. I don't know how much that would be an advantage, because you would take up probably a possibility of losing 2 laps here if you stopped into green. If you could definitely do it on 1, it may allow people to maybe take that chance. But if you're going to lose 2, I don't think there's any way you can do it, can you?
No, and there's some trucks that are going to try to run nearly to the end. We saw guys come to pit road. The first running truck that pitted on lap 113, our last caution, was Matt Crafton. He's cracked the top 10 again. He's been to the back twice and up inside the top 10 twice. So he's in a good spot right now to keep running. He can run this thing all the way out, maybe 10 to go, get a splash of gas, maybe minimizing his time on pit road and gaining some more position.
Yeah, right now he's 8.5 seconds behind their leader. He could certainly close that up by the less time spent on pit road.
See a little bit of debris on the grill of that 2 truck of Sheldon Creed. Haven't heard any report that the temperatures are rising on that Chevrolet Silverado yet, but always a little bit of a concern when you have that debris as he comes up on the lap traffic. That's the 49 of Cicerelli.
I was going to say his temperature may rise a little bit when he gets all this heavy traffic that he's encountering.
All right, now Creed has never won in the Truck Series. 5 drivers have gotten their first career wins here at Dover. You guys want to take a run at who those 5 might be?
I know most of them, if not all.
I got Scott Speed and Brian Scott.
Yep, you got Brian Scott.
I got the Scotts, if you will.
There you
How
go.
about Chad Chaffin?
Yes.
It's your turn.
The first to do it and the most recent to do it.
Eric Amarola?
Eric Amarola is the most recent to do it. So who was the first? I'd give you the year, but I'd give it away. No, Kurt had won a couple of times before he won it. He won the very first truck race here
in 2000.
But it wasn't his first career win. How about Jason Leffler?
Jason Leffler, yep. 6 second-place finishes prior to his win here at Dover for Jason Leffler.
Yep.
Brett Moffitt starting to close in on our leaders. He was having quite the tussle with Grant Enfinger in that 98 truck, and he was able to drive away from Enfinger and almost to the bumper of Harrison Burton in traffic. So these guys are really working through traffic, and Brett's picking up some speed.
Enfinger in that 98 truck, of all the drivers who've run all of the races so far this season, he has the best average finish, 5.4.
I tell you, all of Thorsport has been outstanding, really. They have such a great, solid start to the season through these first 5 races.
Enfinger was the runner-up at Daytona in the season opener, backed it up with a 3rd-place finish at Atlanta. His worst finish of the season was 11th. That was at Las Vegas. And there's the 44 issue for Reed Wilson, making his 2nd start of the campaign. This is what happened.
Tried to get to pit road, but you could see missed it, and I don't know if the truck died or...
It must have died, because it looks like maybe he turned in after the pit wall ended, trying to get towards the Monster Energy Cup garage.
And now the NASCAR officials have pushed him out of the way, so we won't see a yellow here, which I'm glad of. I'm really intrigued about how this pit road sequence will work out, how these drivers take advantage of when they make this final crucial pit stop.
If you're counting on a pit stop under green, how long do you wait, Phil?
I think since the speed's still in these trucks, I think you run it on out. They can go somewhere between 70, 75 laps, maybe able to stretch it a few laps longer because of the caution laps that we've had after they made their pit stop, and some of the guys that didn't stop on our last caution flag. But I think I don't want to push it beyond about lap 165 to 70.
Brian, how much fuel do we have to have? 8 gallons to go 30 laps if we go all the way to the end?
You got to have all the facts. They need 8 gallons to go 30 laps.
Yeah,
they
that's
know
for
that.
the guys that stopped on lap 94, not the ones that stopped 20 laps later that you were talking about, Mike.
Harrison Burton closing in on the leader, Sheldon Creed.
Looks like Burton's able to stick a little bit lower in the turns. That could be a big advantage for the young man.
Burton did a nice job, made his Xfinity Series debut a few weeks back at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Top 10
finished 10th there.
He's going to be side by side.
For the lead, Burton working on Creed.
Looks like maybe the 2 truck of Creed's has fallen off just a tick here in the last few laps.
That 12 truck of Gus Dean took the low line and allowed Creed to hold on to the lead.
But when you're Harrison Burton and you gain that much time that quickly, you got a lot of confidence right now that it's just a matter of time before you grab the lead away from Creed.
He's giving you that bottom. Just keep wrapping it. He can't hang on the bottom. Just keep working. One lap or 5 out the front of him, right on the paint.
Wrapping it. I love that. That's the term the spotters and the crew chiefs like to tell their driver, that they can just keep that truck pointed down on the bottom of the racetrack all the way around.
Brandon Lyons, the spotter for Harrison Burton. Two-time champion crew chief Mike Hillman Jr. on the box for that 18 truck, and 2 young drivers both seeking their first career win out front.
Well, these pit stops are going to be so critical that we were talking about, Mike, whether they're under green or under caution, they're going to be critical.
And this is probably one of the most difficult pit roads to get to under green. You have so much speed, and the entry is right off the bank in turn 4. You go from concrete to pavement, you lose grip. These young racers, these rookies, are going to have to really make sure that they don't make a mistake getting to pit road.
Well, at the end of stage 1, would we have 4 penalties on 4 different teams?
Yes.
For various reasons?
Under 50 to go. We talk about the close racing, and of course, with the lap traffic always providing, it seems like close racing no matter where you are on the track. But Mike, that 18, and you touched on it at the beginning of the show, was involved in it last year.
Yeah, that was a great side-by-side battle late in the going, and Johnny Sauter and Noah Gregson were racing so hard together, and Sauter on the outside, Gregson into.
Oh, and it's Austin Wayne Self, Todd Gilliland right there in the 4 truck.
That was a battle for position. Austin Wayne was running in the 12th spot.
Looked like.
Not sure how much contact there might have been. Gilliland, well, there's the damage on that 4.
Yeah, I was going to say it looked like maybe Gilliland got to the outside, and Self.
Yeah, let's look at the pictures.
Didn't know he was there.
Here's what happened. Oh, Self loses it, and
well,
Gilliland had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
He knew he was there.
Yeah.
That was just a.
Nothing Todd could do about that. Austin was doing such a great job. Just got a little bit loose off of 4 there.
You know what I think's interesting, Phil? You talked about, as you can see, the traction going away on the 22, how these leaders, these fast trucks have been able to maintain quite a bit of pace. Over the last 4 or 5 laps, they had slowed down about a half a second running up into the 24, so they're going to welcome these new tires.
And I think with enough laps left, I think we want to go with 4, don't you?
Watch this from Todd Gilliland's view.
You're all clear behind you here. Caution's out. Caution's out.
Todd really did a pretty good job of minimizing the damage.
Nice job, Todd.
Yeah,
we agree.
Teams think you're right, Phil.
Could have been a lot worse, that's for sure. Well, that's the caution that everyone needed, though, right? With 45 to go.
Yeah.
But this puts a lot of pressure on those teams down on pit road, doesn't it? It seems like maybe today Creed's team has performed really well. They got him in the lead once down there. Moffitt, his team's done a nice job. This is when you got to have the perfect job by the driver, getting to his box as quickly as he can, and the team execute.
Well, we've seen that driver that has the outside position on the restart be able to control the restart and jump to the lead, and that may determine the outcome in this one. Which driver is going to get out of the pits fastest? Which crew is going to do the best work and put their driver in position to win?
You know, you think, why are they cleaning their tires off? They're getting ready to get new ones. They want to make sure they can stop properly in their box. They want to be as aggressive as they can, and those tires are a big part of that.
And they pick up the rubber on these concrete racetracks when they slow down under caution.
Might determine who's in position to win it right here. Allen.
And Sheldon Creed in the 2 truck comes in with the lead. He says he wants to loosen it up on what he hopes is the final run. 4 tires and a track bar adjustment for that 2 truck. In the middle, rookie Harrison Burton says they are tight to start but get better as the run goes along. 4 tires, fuel, and an air adjustment for the young driver, Hermie.
Brett Moffitt has told his crew he is too tight on the exit of the corners to run down the lead. It'll be 4 tires, fuel. They're raising the air pressure in all 4 tires and even adding a little bit more air to the right rear to try to get this 24 to turn.
No, but one pit stall for Grant Enfinger. Will it pay off?
Doesn't look like he'll be quite done in time, or is he? It's going to be close. Not quite to get the lead.
But Ben Rhodes.
The 99 of Rhodes. 2 tires, Friesen gas only. Kyle Busch looking on and didn't like what he saw. The caution provides the final stops, and the duel to the finish is next.
Never mind, never mind.
This week on NASCAR Race Up, Miles the Monster will have reared his ugly head and left destruction on the track. See who escaped his monstrous grasp in Radioactive. And Austin Dillon, Jeff Gordon, and Cole Pearn join us as we turn the corner and prepare for Kansas. That's all this week on NASCAR Race Up. Weeknights, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1.
Getting ready for the restart here at Dover. As we went to commercial break, we were looking at the breakdown on the pit stops, and it indicated that Stuart Friesen took no tires. We want to correct that. He did take right sides. So he and Ben Rhodes, who occupy the front row for this restart, both took right sides only.
This is going to get good.
The guys in the second row with 4 tires.
41 to go as they cross the line. Ben Rhodes out front. And Brett Moffitt around the outside, taking second from Friesen.
Brett Moffitt got him.
Oh, and Sheldon Creed has gone around. It looked like Todd Gilliland got collected in that as well, although Gilliland got through. Oh, heartbreaker for Sheldon Creed, who had led 59 laps and was the leader when that caution had come out previously that took everyone to pit road. Heartbreaker for Creed, who had restarted 4th.
I started to say that Moffitt really got an advantage because Sheldon Creed got hung in behind Stuart Friesen with the 2 tires, and then bam, coming off of turn 2, this happens.
We kind of had to see it coming. We've seen these guys slipping and sliding, and you know as the laps wind down, they're just going to be on the gas that much harder, and Creed just in a bad spot there.
On the inside, like we talk about, Michael, just gets loose. Johnny Sauter does an amazing job avoiding him. Nowhere for Todd Gilliland to go. Once again, Todd Gilliland is a victim of circumstances. Watch the job Johnny Sauter does missing him.
How does Sauter not get caught up in this?
And watch these other drivers. That Tyler Ankrum at the last second, he clips him, but he
just barely.
Minimal damage. Great job by him.
So several near misses. Harrison Burton, who was right beside Sheldon Creed when that accident all began. Look at Burton in the 18. He gets away unscathed, as does the 13 of Johnny Sauter, and the 17 of Ankrum just a bit clicked there in the, well, maybe a little heavier than we thought in the left front, but Todd Gilliland got popped pretty good in that right rear.
Johnny Sauter was able to do an amazing job of missing the spinning Creed truck, and right behind him was Ross Chastain. He was able to get on the brakes and stay off Sauter.
And Johnny sees it first, but then the guys behind him are coming along late to the party, but yet they get stopped and avoid running in the back of Johnny.
Let's watch it from Matt Crafton's perspective. And Todd Gilliland's view.
Man, get low, get low, get low, get low, get low, get low. I can't see you.
Phil, you and I raced here for many years, and when you're 3 or 4 trucks back from the action that happens, the spin that starts, you have no idea what's ahead or where they're going to go. You just try to get as low as you can, like the spotter said, as fast as you can, and hope for the best.
Because they're going to go up first. They're going to go up towards the outside wall, and then they definitely have to come back down. You just try to shoot that gap before they get back down to the bottom of the racetrack. And unfortunately, Todd, nothing he did wrong. It just didn't work out.
Pits are open. The 33 of Ryan Sieg gets the free pass.
What about Sieg? He's back on the lead lap, top 20. Hadn't seen him in a truck in a few years. Still doing a nice job.
They had an issue. They had to change engines this morning. He didn't even get a chance to make a qualifying attempt.
There's a 33 truck. Always does a nice job when he runs the Xfinity Series, and solid run here in the truck.
What a great year he's having over the Xfinity side.
Work continues. All tools involved in this repair. Coming back to Dover.
Then the 88, 13 then the 88. That loop must have been way back center of the corner. Loop my pull your head out of your NASCAR. What a joke, dude. That's just ridiculous, man. Enough's enough already. Find somebody to call him great.
Yes. Hi, Hermie.
Back from break at Dover, Jerry Baxter, the crew chief of the 24. Another shot, another restart. Have you got what it takes to get it done?
I hope we do. We're on 4. He's on 2, and the one behind us has no tires, so I hope we got a shot at it. ISM Connect Chevy's been pretty dang good all day. I hope we can pull this off. We'll see.
It's Jerry Baxter. Trouble with lap traffic earlier. We'll see if he can close it. He's got another shot coming up.
So dominant in qualifying was that 24. It was 0.2 faster than the second quickest truck in qualifying, but it has been a battle here today, and he's got another one on his hands right now. Ben Rhodes in the 99. The control vehicle on the outside, and that's Moffitt on the inside. Back racing, 35 to go at Dover.
Nice restart by Ben Rhodes.
And Harrison Burton with a great jump on the outside as well.
I'm becoming a believer on these outside on the restarts, Michael.
That bottom is just so hard to make time in. If Sauter gets around Moffitt here, I'm almost going to make Sauter my favorite to go up there and do something with those 2 leaders. He's driving possessed, really upset about losing track position earlier, and he's got it just about all back now.
So Sauter does grab that 3rd spot, and they're trying to settle positions further back in the pack. Matt Crafton was really good earlier today, and then had a plug wire come loose. They had to raise the hood on that 88, and now he has gotten back into the mix inside the top 10 again.
This has been a great race. A lot of action side by side. Ross Chastain cuts. Oh, that's so close. I'm glad we got that bumper cam still intact.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to save it there. Grant Enfinger's going for the 5th spot, trying to get by Stuart Friesen, and he does it. Remember, Stuart Friesen's on 2 tires.
The 19, well done. A nice effort from Derek Kraus today. And then 3 wide, there's the 16 getting into the mix, and that's Austin Hill, who had gotten a penalty a little while back. The battle for 2nd now as Sauter works on Harrison Burton and gets the position.
Moffitt's got to keep pace with Johnny Sauter if he thinks he's going to have a chance to win this race. Sauter is just so good right now.
He sure is. Let's see how wide Ben Rhodes can. I don't think Ben Rhodes has anything to. Those 2 tires are going to be no match for Johnny Sauter's 4 tires.
Sauter in the lead, and here comes Brett Moffitt.
Still 30 to go.
Plenty of time, and Moffitt now trying to get around Rhodes for 2nd.
So that's a lot of laps to be blocking.
Harrison Burton is going to make it 3 wide. Burton on the bottom, and Rhodes is getting squeezed out. Enfinger's going to take advantage as well. The 2 tires fading quickly.
I think we go back to the very start of the race. The best 2 trucks here, it looked like the 24 and the 13. And here they are again running 1-2.
And Crafton stalking Friesen for 6th.
Sun setting, but this action is heating up. I love the way our truckers battle.
Remember the strategy called by Trip Roos to put 2 tires on this 52 truck for Stuart Friesen. We'll see how it pans out. Right now he's reigning in the 6th spot. That's about as good as he's been since the very early stages of this race.
Crafton side by side, and now going to take that spot from Friesen.
Matt Crafton up to the 6th spot after going to the back twice. This is a great run for that team. They thought they had a solid truck after practice yesterday. Pretty confident.
The leader, Johnny Sauter, and he's being chased by Brett Moffitt.
Moffitt by 0.2 that last lap, Vince.
We know how hungry Johnny Sauter is. He's not won yet this year. Going back over to ThorSport, and Brett Moffitt hasn't won yet for his new ride at GMS. So there aren't going to be any more 2 guys any more motivated than these 2 are.
You got that right.
Moffitt, the defending series champion, won 6 times last year. Sauter won 6 times as well. Had a great year.
Austin Hill picking him off inside the top 10.
Yeah, we didn't document the fact that he had a penalty on his last pit stop for speeding too fast entering. Had to go all the way back to the back of the pack. Now he's worked his way well up right now into the top 10 and grabs another spot.
7th position for Austin Hill after that penalty. That's an impressive run.
25 laps remaining here at Dover, and on the mile they go by quickly. In about 23 seconds a lap.
A shout out to Derek Kraus, also running in the top 10. That orange number 19 Ineos truck for Bill McAnally.
Bill McAnally's been a Napa store owner for about 100 years. Got Napa on the back of that truck as well. That's good to see.
Kraus just 17 years old. Kevin Bellecourt, the crew chief.
Going to run 4 or 5 races this year. I believe this is this the second race that they've run so far this year? It is. Martinsville was the first.
And now Kraus works on Ross Chastain, and he's going to get that spot.
That's impressive.
Into 9th goes Kraus. Stuart Friesen next in line.
Johnny Sauter's been able to pull away from Moffitt a bit. The spotters will be on the radio to those drivers saying, you still got 25, 23, 20, don't burn your stuff up right now if it's not exactly what you need, trying to run down Johnny Sauter. Maybe lay back a bit, try to get those tires to cool off just any little bit and make a run later.
More lappers, half straightaway ahead, split by 2.
The last 2 laps, they've only been separated by about 1/100th of a second in their lap times. That last lap, the top 4 trucks, only 4 100ths of a second apart.
Well, that lap traffic can be a factor. We've seen the lead change on a couple of occasions today because of the lap traffic, with the leader getting caught up. Chastain trying to get back underneath Kraus for spot, and Chastain, oh, how did he save it? Is he going to be able to gather it up? He does. Wow.
Throttle down. Another one inside.
Unbelievable.
What a talent that young man is.
You got that right.
Gander Outdoors, 20 to go at Dover. Who's going to win it? Johnny Sauter and Brett Moffitt out front. They started the race on the front row, both 6-time winners a year ago, both seeking their first trip to victory lane this season, both driving for new teams.
Ross Chastain is a heck of a driver. I don't see how he didn't crash here.
I mean, he's crashed right here and then saves it, somehow misses Stuart Friesen, and then he's spinning out again up here next to the outside wall and saves it as well.
Wow. Gathered it right back up and went back to work. And look at this. I don't know how he kept from putting that thing in the wall.
It was going to be hard to make that corner with the angle that Ross had there, being on the bottom of 3 wide.
It's going to be tough to clean up all that watermelon mess too, wasn't it?
I don't know how he carries those around in the back of that bed like that.
Making a move back toward the front. Top 10 every race this year in the truck. He's currently running 12th. Can he get over that? Can his heart rate come down enough for him to charge up and get a top 10?
Just past Brandon Jones. Boy, it's been a struggle for that 51 group this weekend.
Yeah, it sure has. I think Brandon's scheduled to be in this truck again next week at Kansas.
Look at Chastain's numbers there on the bottom left of your screen. And we talk about top 10 in every race, but not just top 10. I mean, well inside it.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of top 5s.
So impressive. Nice Motorsports has taken such a major jump this year with their performance on the racetrack.
Sauter continues to widen the gap now, almost 9/10ths of a second over Brett Moffitt.
Sauter got held up a bit there in the traffic. Brett maybe not so much, maybe closing it down a little bit here as we race to 15 to go.
And it's not hard to lose a half a second in traffic here if you catch somebody in the wrong spot.
The 46 of Rafael Lessard, what a great job he has done. Runs 10th. The rookie from Canada making his 2nd career start. Not even seen Dover Speedway until rolling in this weekend.
Ankram's heating him up too. All over the back of the 46 truck is Tyler in that 17, and then here comes Ross back on the prowl again.
You know, we talked about Lessard and he showed speed in practice, but a variety of people down in the garage area said, he's got speed. We'll see how he races. I've been really impressed with the way Lessard has raced.
I think he has overachieved here. He's really done a nice job, as well as Tyler Ankram in this 17 truck. Remember, he got damage from that incident with Sheldon Creed and Todd Gilliland, and he's rebounded here to battle for a top 10.
Sheldon Creed out of the care center. He's with Allen.
And he is okay after that wreck, but a career day ended early for Sheldon Creed. What happened on that restart?
Yeah, just late race restarts, getting aggressive, and I felt like the 18 was aggressive earlier in the night when he make it 3 wide with me and my teammate, and just was on my door, and there's not much you can do. They're so aero dependent nowadays that just suck me right around. Just pumped for my guys. It's the best truck we've had all year. I just want to thank Chevy for backing me. Josh Wise, everyone's helped me out this year. We're getting faster. They know we're here, so just want to thank all my guys back at the shop for working hard, and we'll be back next weekend.
Tough day, tough ending to a great day, guys.
Well, we're going to be talking about Sheldon Creed for a long time. That young man has got a lot of talent when he gets it harnessed. He's always got speed, that's for sure.
It was no fluke to see him run well here for sure.
Oh, one into the wall. With
Brennan
10 to
Poole.
go, is that going to bring out the caution? And it does. Brennan Poole.
Well, we're going to have another restart.
Will set up a shootout to the finish.
This is the last thing that Johnny Sauter wanted to see, was another restart.
Sauter had a lead of almost a second. And that has evaporated. And that's right in front of Johnny Sauter. Sauter goes to the bottom, Poole to the top and into the wall.
Brennan just got a little bit loose entering the corner, and then ran out of grip there when he got up a little bit higher than most people have been running.
Well, you remember that truck was damaged early, so obviously it wasn't handling like it had, and around he went.
They rely on that right rear quarter panel to be stuck out so much for that side force, and that earlier contact with the outside wall pushed that back in, so he definitely has been crippled this entire race.
Todd Gilliland will get the free pass in that 4 truck. And there's a look at your leader, Johnny Sauter.
Is this NASCAR business stressful or what, Joe Scheer Jr.?
But at this point, it's not like Johnny's coming to pit lane. I mean, Joe's done all he can do.
Yeah.
It's up to the driver right now.
Go Johnny. This is about all we can do right now.
Now he will put Brett Moffitt down on the bottom. We've seen the outside line prevail every restart, so he'll squeeze Brett to the bottom. It's going to be a heck of a battle to the checkered.
Coming back for the finish at Dover. One week from tonight, Kansas Speedway on the 1.5 miles. A different kind of speed and excitement at that place.
Yeah, but it's just as dramatic as Dover. These guys get side by side, and you can see the sparks fly and carnage at times.
What about a dominating performance last year by Noah Gregson driving for KBM?
Won the pole, won stage 1, stage 2, and the race.
Did you ever think about getting in a pickup and going 180 miles an hour, Vince?
No. I'd go about 80. That'd be about it. Not 180. Well, a beautiful evening here at Dover, and we are set up for what should be a fantastic finish.
Keep your eye on Grant Enfinger in that 98. He's had a really fast truck all day long, and now he's going to be up on the outside behind Sauter. That should be an advantage for him. He might be able to sweep around and challenge for this win.
What about Harrison Burton starting from the inside of the second row in case these two trucks maybe get a little wide?
And how about some radio from Burton?
The seat's a little wet. It's not because I peed. It's because the water bottle cabinet fell off. Yeah, that's what I think too. Sorry, Steve. Sir, I promise. I'm innocent. I promise. Step forward, bud. Step forward.
Race car drivers never urinate.
I'm pretty sure that Mike Hillman Jr. didn't believe him. How about this front row? Johnny Sauter was in that 24 truck a year ago. That was his ride. And late in the offseason, GMS, the team decided to make a move, and Moffitt got the ride. Sauter went to ThorSport. And now the two of them are on the front row for the restart at Dover. 5 to go for the Monster. Oh, Moffitt drove it in.
Look at Ben Rhodes up high, making it 3 wide. Can they survive?
Oh, Sauter closes the door for the lead. Boy, Moffitt gave it a great run off that restart. Harrison Burton right there for third. Grant Enfinger in fourth. Matt Crafton alongside his teammate Ben Rhodes for fifth. Crafton's going to get it.
What a nice rebound for Matt Crafton here in this race.
What a drive for Johnny Sauter. We saw him fall back when he was trying to save a little fuel, and man, he battled his way back to the front.
He restarted in the 9th position after that, and he's the only one that's been able to really consistently pass a lot of trucks.
3 laps remaining for Johnny Sauter. He has won back-to-back races here at Dover, trying to make it 3 in a row. Brett Moffitt so desperately trying to catch him. Had the fastest car, or the fastest truck, won the pole position by 2/10, shattering the track record.
He's just looking for any kind of slip out of that 13 truck ahead of him. Slip a tire, give me a chance.
And knowing Johnny Sauter, he doesn't slip very often, especially here at this racetrack. He's going for 3 in a row.
He had Noah Gregson pounding off the side of him, and he never slipped a year ago. Drove straight to victory lane.
Johnny Sauter coming around. There will be one more to go. 1 mile left for Sauter.
Or Moffitt's hanging it out, isn't he?
Talk about hungry. You could see it there, right?
They battled for the championship, Sauter and Moffitt, a year ago, both winning 6 times. Moffitt took the title, but today's battle is going to go to Johnny Sauter. Sauter through turn 4. He's going to win the Monster. Johnny Sauter for the 3rd straight time.
Good job, gang! Damn it, thank you, Dave Duranda! Yeah!
He's pretty excited.
He's not.
That is so cool, man. Man, you're a hell of a driver, Cap. Can't say anything more, man. You're the best.
Sauter's first win since returning to ThorSport, team owned by Duke and Rhonda Thorson, and you heard the shout out and Matt Crafton giving his old buddy, his teammate, the high five.
Don't you love it when the veterans celebrate like rookies? I mean, this win was so important to him, going home to Duke and Rhonda and getting that checkered flag. That's incredible.
And we talk about the great start to the season that ThorSport has had. All 4 trucks finishing the top 6 positions in this race.
ThorSport had been runner-up as a team 3 times this season without getting the win, but today it's going to victory lane. The 3-peat for Johnny Sauter. Sun starting to set over the Monster Mile, where Johnny Sauter has won the Dover 200 in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. It was exciting right to the finish. The guy who chased him to the line is with Hermie.
That's right, Brett Moffitt. You come home second, had the pole, led a lot, lap traffic in and out of the situation today, but it ultimately came down to a last race, late race restart with Sauter. What did you need more that you didn't have down the stretch?
Just clean air. It's all about track position really here at Dover now, and restart on the outside is key, and he obviously got the outside, and I was lucky enough to get into second without the 98 filling the gap, but all in all, we had a good ISM Connect Chevy. When we were out front, we could lead it, won the first stage. It was just lap traffic kind of cost us track position. We never got back. But, you know, ISM Connect Chevy, Maury Gallagher, and everyone that makes this team so good. We've been really, really good all year. So the wins are coming. And then I want to give a special shout out to a family friend and longtime sponsor of mine, Kurt. He's battling back from some health issues right now. So Kurt, I hope you're watching. Hope you can make it to Kansas or one of the races coming up.
It's Brett Moffitt. He's second. Let's go to victory lane.
Johnny Sauter climbing out of the truck. Victory lane for the third straight year here at Dover. They're pouring beer on that golden trophy, Miles the Monster Trophy. Johnny, you've done a lot of winning, but I've never heard you celebrate like that. Why was this one so satisfying?
Well, when you get kicked to the curb, you know, you feel like you got a lot to prove. So I can't thank Ford Motor Company enough, Tend to Heal, Pet Care Products, Duke and Ron Horse, and most importantly, a couple months ago I didn't know if I'd be racing. So to get 3 in a row here is extra special. I can't thank all these guys, Joe, and everybody at ThorSport, Fab Shop, Paint Shop, everybody there. Motivated, highly motivated, and I shut the motor off there earlier today and it wouldn't refire, and I was like, well, track position's so important, but experience paid off going to the top. But just can't thank Duke around enough. Thank the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Blessed Mother, as always. Say hi to my wife and kids, and this is so special. This is ranks right up there as probably one of the best wins of my career. So got to keep it going. That's the main goal here, is to not get complacent and keep these Fords winning races. And that's a good group of guys there. I knew after Atlanta that we'd have a shot to win races, and I felt like we gave one away at Martinsville, and we got it today. So just thank everybody enough. I can't thank them enough.
You mentioned the ignition. You had trouble on pit road. There was that late restart. How were you able to overcome all that?
Oh, hell, that ain't nothing. So that's easy stuff. You just got to relax and take it all in stride. Obviously, Tab Boyd does a great job spotting for me, and just great group of guys, great stuff. ThorSport's a great program, and they've made huge strides, you know, since I was there even the last time. So I can't thank those guys enough. It's a well-oiled machine, and I feel like we're going to be racing teammates here pretty quickly for wins week in and week out, as well as the competition. So looking forward to the rest of the season.
A relaxed Johnny Sauter goes all the way to victory at the Monster Mile.
I just want to hear one of you drivers just once, when we ask how did you do it, to just say, because I'm so awesome. I'm incredibly talented. I'm the best. Johnny Sauter did just that today.